Anime originals has been a thing ever since anime exists. Some of the most popular anime movies are originals, like the Ghibli movies or Your Name, or a lot of old shows like Evangelion, Cowboy Bebop, Fooly Cooly and a bunch of other. But what exactly is an anime original? Well, it's a studio basically saying, fuck your manga, fuck your light novel, we are making our own show. Some turns out great, some not that much. What makes it unique is that it's unexpected. There is no source material, therefore no one knows what will happen, which makes it a lot more interesting. Lycoris Recoil is a new anime from this season, and despite being an original, it became one of the most popular and liked show, thanks to its unique and really likable characters, the dynamic between them, the way how they balance action and slice of life so well. A little bit of fan service, and we can't forget how goddamn good this show looks. It pretty much goes from cute girls doing cute things, to cute girls killing with guns, to endless crying and pain knowing how this show might end. But what it's exactly about? It starts out with DA, an anti-terrorist organization that raised orphans girls as killers, basically throwing their life away without a choice. It's a fair question to ask why they don't just quit. Well, cause they don't know better. They don't know what life is like, they don't understand it. All they know is how to kill, they don't own any clothes, they eat the same food, all they do is practice, complete missions, and they think that's the norm. One of the girls like that is Takina, who is on a secret mission where the goal is to defeat the terrorists before they could exchange the goods. However, it turns into a hostage situation. In the middle of it, the radio signal goes out, which makes them unable to communicate, and they don't know what to do, so Takina decides to act on her own and she shoots the terrorists, risking the life of her partner, but saving her at the end of the day. That itself is not something an agent will get kicked out for, but the reason why the mission failed was first off cause they got the wrong date, the exchange happened way earlier, and the second is cause the DA got hacked. That's why the signal went out, and they don't want anyone to know that their perfect system is not that perfect. So they blamed the failure on Takina and moved her to Lycoris, a coffee shop. That's where she meets a few people that also worked at the DA, including her new partner, Chisato, a famous licorice known for her sheer dominance over any other. Jeez. Takina imagines her as someone just like her, a hard worker, a perfectionist, always serious. But she's the exact opposite to her surprise, a bubbly person that's always positive, always nice, and Takina just doesn't understand it. She gets dragged along on all kind of odd jobs, meeting with all kind of people, and I just love this part where Chisato gives a back to a Yakuza leader and Takina just freaks out on her own way. She's ready to shoot, thinking that they exchanged some kind of drugs. Yet it was just coffee. The whole point dragging Takina along was to show her that these are just normal people, with their own life, own thoughts, own feelings. It's not worth taking their life away. It's not worth wasting their time. Which gets a completely new meaning by the end. However, it's just not that easy to change someone's mind, to make them understand that what they are doing is not always the right thing. Takina is determined to go back to the DA, and Chisato accepts that, never questions it, helps her as much as she can, but she's determined to show Takina that there is more to a life than what she thinks. Overall, throughout the first few episodes, the biggest question for a lot of people was that what is the story? What's the end goal? Is there even one? Or is this anime just more of a mix of different slice of life and action situations that our characters just fall into? I wouldn't have a problem with that. I love those type of shows where you can just turn off your brain and enjoy whatever situation the characters happen to be in. However, as the anime slowly progressed forward, one thing I realized was that I cared about these characters way more than for any other anime. Like, I remember pretty much everyone's name. I usually can't even remember the main character's name. No, that's because the story evolves with the characters. The story follows the characters, not the other way around. In the first half of the episodes, it puts you into everyday situations where you can get to know the characters, what they are going through, how they feel. It makes sure you can relate to them in some way, and in the second half, it puts them into an unrealistic situation, and now you are scared that something bad might happen to them, while the stakes are constantly increasing with every single episode. It really reminds me of Steins Gate and the way the first 12 episodes went down. It takes its time to introduce us to everyone, and it just puts them into situations with bigger and bigger stakes until something happens that just feels unresolvable. In Lycoris Recoil, the anime splits that into two different parts, which makes up the story. First half of the show is about Takina, about how she comes to an understanding that what life is about, what life she wants to live, from wanting to go back to the DA to basically not giving a shit about them. And the second part is about Chisato, but it approaches it in the opposite way and shows us how she got into that situation. Why is she like that? Why does she care so much? The best way to break it down is by talking about the characters. Well, Lycoris Recoil has a bunch of characters that we can split up into 3 main groups. Everyone that works at Lycoris, the people from DA, and the quote-unquote villains. Now I usually love to start just talking about my favorite character. I mean, it's usually more just like who is the best girl of the show. From first glance, Chisato seems like an obvious answer for everyone. However, as I read through a lot of comments from episode 10 and think a bit more about it, I don't know who's my favorite is, and it seems like no one else does. Which means they did an amazing job writing these characters, especially the people that work at Lycoris. I would actually like to start with Takina, mainly because the anime focuses on her the most for the first half, and she's pretty close to being my favorite, mainly because of just how goddamn much I can relate to her. She's shown as the more mature person compared to Chisato, always calm, serious, yet when she's next to someone that puts her into situations she never experienced, she kind of just falls apart. Which creates some of my favorite scenes from the show, like this part where they are playing VR PUBG and Chisato spots her panties, or more like the non-existence of it, and that's all she can think about. Well, until she checks it for herself. I just love how clueless Takina is. She doesn't understand what's the problem with wearing boxers. So now Chisato forces her to buy some panties, which creates another stack of problem cause she doesn't own any clothes. So then they buy clothes too, and then when they finally get to the panties, Chisato explains what's the problem with it, that you can't show it to others. To what Takina responds with, well, you can't show panties either. And Chisato is like, well, what if the moment strikes? Just to get insanely embarrassed, realizing that Takina probably has no idea what. Or from the same date, when Chisato shares her secret that she is looking for someone and she just wants to thank him, it brings the mood quite down. So Takina decides to do this. She acts like a fish. Does it make any sense? Not at all. Does it lift up the mood? Absolutely. It makes them laugh. It makes Takina laugh for the first time. It's weird to say about a bunch of fictional characters, but they are full of life. There is also this other scene where they are losing money. So Takina tries to take care of the finances and she comes up with a bunch of ideas like shooting less bullets or none at all. Not defusing a bomb until they pay. And she also comes up with a parfait that, well, looks like shit. Like actually. No one wants to say it, so they serve it. But that is exactly what saves Lycoris. It goes viral. Everyone loves it, and the show spent 6 minutes showing that off, just to reveal to Takina that it looks like shit. Through all the episodes that we have so far, she changed quite a lot. She didn't become less strict, less serious, but she just opens up more. She starts to understand what life is about, going from wanting to go back to the DA to basically saying fuck you to them, especially in this scene where she confronts the prisoner. She doesn't care about the mission, all she cares about is Chisato, and will just let the scene speak for itself. That's just such a badass moment. We can all agree that Chisato is the best girl of this season. She's this super bubbly, really friendly person, someone that anyone would want as a friend. On the other side, we know that Takina is an exceptional Lycoris. Well, Chisato is not just exceptional, she's a one-man army. Who wouldn't want a girl that can always make your day better and simultaneously kick your ass? While with Takina, the show focuses on her understanding what life is about, what life she wants to live. With Chisato, it focuses on her past. It reveals what she was like. Why did she change? We all know that she is the strongest Lycoris by far, that she can defeat all of them alone, that she can basically dodge every single bullet. Even with only 1 episode left, we still don't know why though. Why is she exceptional? But what we know is that it might be the reason why she had a congenital heart disease that in 6 months at most would kill her. Mika, the person who raised Chisato so far, would show a video of her to Shinji about how good she is. and Shinji decides to save her and gives her a new artificial heart that was created with the support of Alan Institute. That is something we hear about in every single episode. The surgery happens, she gets her new heart, however, it's not perfect. It will last no longer than her reaching adulthood, which they are completely fine with, since most Lycoris are active until they are 18 at best. I assume because they will die by that point. All they wanted from her was to use her talent to kill as many people as she can. But after the surgery, she wanted to save everyone. She realized how important life is. It's not worth taking it away. Which is quite ironic considering that they saved her for the exact opposite reason. This all went fine for the next 10 years. She's alive, no problems with her heart, and she haven't took away a single person's life ever since the surgery. But that is exactly what started the problems. While Mika raised her, he had a change of heart. He understood why Chisato was like that and supported her. But that is not true for Shinji, who tried everything to make her kill. From setting up a scene where she is forced to take away the life of an assassin, to damaging the artificial heart, all the way to giving up his own life just to see her kill. There is this scene which is by far my favorite. She and Mika decides to close Lycoris. Mika gives her a box and Chisato thinks it's a gun or something like that. But it's a full-on kimono for coming of age, which used to be 20 until this year when it was lowered to 18. She puts it on, it looks amazing on her, she looks wonderful, but it was given to her early, knowing that she will never reach adulthood, that she will be dead by that time. Mika by that point just can't hold it in anymore and he explains what exactly happened. That he did the operation for his own benefit. That he was supposed to raise her to become the strongest hitman. That if she would continue to kill, Shinji would save her life again. But Chisato didn't care about that. She was just happy that he let him decide for herself. That they opened Lycoris. That she met Takina. It all thanks to the fact that they saved her even if it wasn't with a good intention. No matter what, she will think of him as her two dad. She had a life she was never supposed to have. Mika, in my opinion, is a really unique character that doesn't shows up that much overall, but every scene he has a role in has quite a lot of impact. He was just a pleasant surprise for me, and a great representation for black people, and also probably the best LGBTQ representation I've ever seen. Well-designed, detailed character with its own flaws not dripping in stereotypes. There is also this scene where they realize that he's going on a date, so they try to follow him, thinking it might be with Kusunoki, just to realize that he doesn't swing that way. And that's it. There is nothing big about it. No surprised faces or anything. They don't make a big deal out of it and I really like that. We also have characters like Majima, who is considered as one of the villains and he was quite annoying, quite weird and felt poorly written. But they were able to make him into such an interesting character. He's not really against anyone and he just wants to show the Japanese people that the country is not as safe as they think. That not everything is just an accident, that crime actually happens, that no one should be above the law, and he had this plan which I really liked. He bought a bunch of guns, placed it all over Japan in really obvious places, hacked every monitor and told everyone that hey, if they really think there is no crime, no one will pick up those guns, no one will use it. It's just a Joker type character. He has a valid reason behind why he is doing this. He's not necessarily against the main character, and overall I think he's just really well written. The final question is, why do we like this show? Why is it so entertaining? For me, it reminds me of something that KyoAni would have done 10 years ago. A slice of life that revolves around the characters with a mix of ideas that can make us laugh and cry from one moment to another. There is just a bunch of scenes that you could upload without any context, and it would still be funny, it would still be sad. And it's really something that I felt you could only do with something that KyoAni done. There was clearly a lot of passion and a lot of effort put into this anime, from all the way to the script writers, to the animators, to even their own Twitter page. I just really like these small details that wasn't even necessary to do, like making a Twitter account for the coffee shop and posting things like what's on the menu or that they closed. It's just really cool that they think about something like that. Or that the halftime screens are different for every episode, which I never see these days. Or that the characters have like 20 different outfits, which is just so much extra effort. I don't even have to say that the opening visually is probably one of the best I've ever seen so far. So far it's probably my favorite anime this year, and it really only depends on how good the last episode will be. If you never watched it, please do. If you got this far, please like and subscribe. I put so much time into this video. Goodbye.